Welcome to the GBVSR Counterplay Archive, a series of videos where I will cover every single character in the game, each in a separate video, and go over how to deal with certain moves and common or even niche situations that a player may encounter while playing Rising. I am a firm believer that being able to understand every character in the game like they're your own is one of the biggest contributors to improvement, in not just Rising, but in fighting games in general. So hopefully this series can help players gain that understanding and, eventually see improvement in their own gameplay. As you can tell by the title of this video, we're moving a little bit into zoners, starting off with Ferry. Ferry is honestly not too complicated, but she is very tricky to deal with, especially just, zoners as an archetype are kind of hard to deal with for a lot of players. So we're going to be breaking down everything starting from her normals to her specials and even situations, and then at the end I have like a general game plan section on how you want to approach Ferry. So this video is pretty long. That is because I feel like there is a lot to know against this character. So I hope this all provides helpful, and let's get right into the video. Starting off with her normals, there's a lot because her normals are very problematic. She is like a normal base zoner. So yeah, I'm gonna go through these pretty quick, but I'm going to cover some in a little bit more detail that have, a little bit more to them than others. So yeah, let's get right into it. To start off, her 4-5L. This move is 7 frames and is pretty big. This move stops like it's a big just like stop sign for most characters trying to approach on the ground. It can be rolled because it hits low as well. This move in particular, one thing that is good to know is that if I set the computer to do double 4-5L, so if they're just kind of like doing 4-5L, you block the first one, you can kind of, I'm pretty sure this works for most characters. Obviously, you see what character, see what your character has in this situation or what they can do in this situation, but you can just kind of stop this right there if they like doing that move a lot. So it's something good to know. But like besides that, this move is really, really good. RM is also pretty big. Like I mentioned, all her normals are pretty big. It's 11 frames at the tip and 9 frames closest, but it does cover like half the screen, and it is 30 frames or 31 frames total, which makes it kind of really hard to get around. But you can roll this move. But the thing is, with it only being 30 frames, yeah, I'm just gonna do this real quick. It being only like 30 frames, it's kind of, you're not gonna see a lot of times where you can punish it. So like right there, you're kind of just like, if you get lucky on a preemptive. But even that is kind of very, very hard to do. So yeah, it can be rolled, which is good to know if you want to, like, if they're using this move a lot, then you can just kind of roll it to gain some space. Worst case scenario, like even. But Ferry's normals are not the fastest. Her fastest far normal is this move is 7 frames, and her fastest close normal is 6 framer. So for most of the cast, it's kind of slow. Well, in comparison to most of the cast, it's pretty slow. So yeah, good thing to note that you can roll this move. Obviously, there's a lot of other moves to worry about that do catch roll. So yeah, it's just one thing to also keep in mind though when talking about her 4-5M. Her 2M, on the other hand, is always 11 frames. And this one is basically her 4M, but it's low to the ground. Also goes like half screen, a little bit shorter than her 4M. But this one does indeed catch roll. So if I were to set this right here and try to roll, since all moves that hit low to the ground catch roll. So this move is also kind of scary to deal with. She's 1 frame worse on block than her 4M. When they use this move a lot, I'd say like just kind of like slowly like approach like on the ground, because this move has really like low recovery For example, I just set the computer to do like 2M into like LDP. So like even that is like really hard to to do, even if you're jumping it. So even though I were to like super jump right there, she still has enough time to recover and do an LDP. Obviously, if you're like a little bit earlier, it'll work, but like, see how hard it is to kind of just do this consistently. So yeah, it's really hard to deal with. I'd say if you can get a really good time jump and beat it out, or beat out any other option she has, but again, it's really hard to do. So I kind of recommend just like slowly like approaching like on the ground like this. There is no dash blocking in this game, so you kind of just have to like slowly inch your way forward, kind of like this. They like to use this move a lot. But yeah, we're gonna look at a close normal for once, mainly her close H. The only reason why I'm talking about this move is because it is +3 on block. I don't know how like if this is common knowledge or not, but yeah, this move 9 frames +3 on block actually frame traps into itself. So for example, if I were to mash right here in between, I get caught. So you might see this Blockstring a bit where they just do close H into close H. It is a true block, or not true Blockstring. It does frame trap into itself. It'll catch anybody that mashes right here. So good to know, when they do this, it is indeed their turn. So keep that in mind when you see this move. Far H, on the other hand, this move is pretty big. Again, it goes further than her far M, but it's a lot. It has a lot higher recovery, which is something to note. If you did remember what I said about far 5M, you can roll it. The same can be said for far H, but instead with far 8, she is pretty minus, as you see, like the recovery on this. This total of 31 frames. Far 5H is a total of 43 frames. So in situations where you might have been like +2, you are now +14. So a lot of characters can take advantage of that. So for example, if I were to set Ferry to do this, obviously not exactly +14 like I mentioned, but +13. And so yeah, you can get a pretty decent punish off of this. Of course, depending on your character, you might be able to get some other stuff. You can also just like spot dodge it. Same goes for far M, but you know, being in her face is a lot better than not, you know. But yeah, good to know you can roll this if they're using this move a lot, and you know, maybe throw out a random roll here and there, and you might be able to catch them, and then you know, see what punishes you have for your character. Obviously, not everybody has the same confirms as Grand. So yeah, 5U is a move that doesn't really do too much. Besides, it does chip, like a good amount of chip if you get all the hits. I don't know if you can see it like right there. There's like a good chunk of chip damage right there. From far, it does a decent amount. It does have like variable frame data, but as you, I think, yeah, as you saw right there, she's too far. She's like minus. But usually she's +3. Like max distance, see -4, but +3. But usually when she's -4, like right here, there's not much that a lot of characters can do about it. She just kind of presses like her buttons and it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, one thing to keep in mind though is that it can be spot dodged actually. I was just messing around with this like literally just now because like I was unsure myself. If they do like canceling into this move, then spot dodge is a good option. This leaves you pretty plus depending on what the starter is, but you should be close enough to punish regardless. Of course, figure out what works best for your character. Space is probably going to be a lot harder, but I don't think you'll probably see this a lot. Space. Oh yeah, she's pretty minus on that, so you do that. figure out what works for your character. You know, I don't think a lot of Ferry players will be using this move just to like end every single block string, but it's good to know. And we'll definitely like this in particular, and like spot dodging in certain block strings will come up later when I go over more situational stuff, and then also specials. So yeah, this is good to just keep in mind. Now into her air normals. She actually has quite a few different things that she can do off of her, in particular her unique. Her 7 swings her back, her 9 swings her forward, and then her 8, I'm pretty sure her 8 and her 9 are pretty similar. That's another one I'll be coming in a second, but yeah, she just kind of swings in the air off of this, and then she can act out of it. She can cancel it earlier with another normal, another air normal, that is, like that or that. But yeah, one thing to note besides all of that other stuff is that she can actually just not block after she does this. So for example, let me just like do this, and I'm gonna hold the block button, and you see how like if you're in the air, you have this unique like block animation right there if you hold the block button. But if you notice when I do this, I'm holding the block button and I don't get it till I come down right here. So yeah, she can't block. Certain characters have like moves that like take up a decent amount of airspace. Like if you're Gran, you might be able to like DP, for example. Like yeah, if you can catch that, obviously that's probably not gonna be something that a lot of people are gonna try to do. Might be able to just go air to air. But yeah, she can't block out of this. One pretty big example of being able to like counter this in the air is Vakala, because of her 623M, which travels at a pretty good angle for catching this move in particular. You see this, she just kind of throws it out and it just completely kills whatever she's trying to do in the air. And so she can't block it, just, yeah, there's nothing she can do about it. So yeah, if your character has something like this, then or you know, a decent air normal that can kind of like stuff this out, then by all means. But yeah, nothing much else besides that. Good to know. Yeah, a lot of fairies, or not even a lot of fairies, I'd say some fairies might be a little bit too comfortable of being in the air with this move. It is kind of hard to kind of track and catch for certain characters, but it's good to know that if you see that like if you see this move like in the air, you can kind of just stuff it out. One of her other air normals that are kind of weird is her JU, or like J5U, J4U, and J6U. The only difference is in between these is the angle that they go at. This is 5U, kind of goes like 45 degrees. That's her 4. It goes more downwards, you could say, more like straight down, and then her 6 goes more forward. So the thing for this that I'm going to like emphasize is that this is really like weird in terms of frame data. It varies a lot. So like right there she's -6, right here she's +2, right there she's -5, right there she's +5. So it's really hard to tell with this move. Usually the easiest indicator is how low the last hit hits determines how, like, what the frame data is. But even then it's extremely hard to tell. Like I said, it varies a lot. Like even just doing this right here, it's like changing just based off of like the different angles I did it at. Right there she was like -10, and -2, +2. So yeah, this one is really weird. Not even like fairy players know like what the frame data is like consistently. So yeah, like off of this, usually the best option to do is just grab, because even on this right here she's +2, if she presses a button, her close like light is 6 frames. For example, if I were to do this and then do a button afterwards, you grab and then it beats the close light. So yeah, this one in particular is always +2 because it's at the angle, or it's like at the same angle every single time. But yeah, of course, like I said, it varies. It's really hard to tell unless it's like really like just bad. Like even there, she was only -1. So yeah, grab is your safest option right here. If you do find a way to tell, then by all means, like, punish or act accordingly. But yeah, this move is really weird in that sense. So yeah, also if the Ferry player has meter, you know, sometimes if they don't know, they'll just DP. I know a couple people that just do this a lot. But yeah, keep note of that. Also, this move is really punishable on whiff. She has like a good like 20 frames of recovery on landing, or something like that. So yeah, if you get her to whiff this move, then you can kill her for it. So yeah, keep that in mind. One thing that I forgot to mention about the JU with this in particular, you might see for throw baits. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but you might see this for throw baits. Is that it can be actually spot dodged if you're calling it out. So for example, if I just set the computer to do this, I spot dodge it, she depending of course on the timing you spot dodge it, it changes how minus she is, but you get a good timing on it, then you can get a pretty big punish. But yeah, if you do want to call this out, if they're doing this a lot, you can indeed call it out with a spot dodge, and yeah, you'll be rewarded for it pretty nice. Now for dash normals, her 66M. 66M is an overhead. That's not 66M. Her 66M is an overhead that is -6. Only -6 if, you know, at worst. And usually it's spaced out to where it's really hard to punish. You can also space this to be like, if I can get it, like right there, -3, like max distance. So you can't really do much about it. So yeah, if they do this point blank, then yeah, you can get a punish. For example, grand close M. If you want to be safe, then you can close light or far L, depending on like the spacing. But yeah, if it's spaced like this, it's extremely hard to punish. So yeah, keep that in mind. Move isn't that fast. It's 26 frames, so 2 frames slower than 2 frames faster, excuse me, than a raging strike. So yeah, it isn't that fast, but it is something to keep in mind. You might see this a bit in like certain like setups right there. Like she might be like too far for a JO, then you might see this instead. So keep that in mind. Also in like kill situations, of course, if you're like kill range, 1 hit away from death, you know, you might see this through space. So yeah, next is her 66H. 66H is mainly a combo tool, but sometimes they might like randomly do this on block, and you're like, what the hell? What happened? This is -8. There is a position where she can be, yeah, like the frame data is does vary, but she's always at least -5. So I guess this doesn't, like, depending on spacing, of course, doesn't matter too much unless you're like Belial, because you don't have a 5 framer that reaches that far. Now onto her specials. I know normals took a decent bit of time. That's because we covered a lot. But yeah, specials. We're gonna start off with her 236. As you can see, her 236L is -10. It is always -10 regardless of where it's guarded, point blank, all the way back here, it's -10. This is good to know. I don't know if any Ferry is ever canceling into this move point blank, because I don't know what this catch is. If they do this point blank for some reason, then you can punish, of course. Of course, figure out what is best for your character, what punish you can get, if that is possible. Another thing is that just like her far M and her far H, this move can be rolled. I'll be covering like certain situations. You might see this like a lot, like mainly in like certain block strings. It can be rolled, and it's also pretty minus on doing so. That was a very preemptive roll, but like right there, you're still +17 and you get a right roll. So yeah, rolling is a pretty decent option against Ferry in general, but of course there's still the RPS with, you know, her other buttons that catch low, like 2M. I didn't cover it in the normal session, but also 2U. Good low catch, and then far 5L is a good way to catch roll, even though it's not a low. It hits low to the ground, so it catches rolls. So yeah. Next there is 236M. 236M is basically 236L, but it has longer startup. You see that's the M version. It's also always -4 on block. This is because of its longer startup. Now, it can also be held as long as an extra 15 frames longer, I'm pretty sure. I'll go point blank. It's 29. I'll hold max. It's 44. So yeah, an extra 15 frames, like a quarter of a second longer. In particular, this is a move to catch roll in certain situations. You'll see a lot of people autopilot to like roll or spot dodge after blocking the normal. So this move is usually there to catch that. Obviously it doesn't work all the time because it can't catch it doesn't catch roll like actually. Like for example, just like the other one, if I were to just do this, you can still roll it. So it does indeed lose the roll, but it is like time to catch the recovery on most parts. So I'll be covering this a little bit more later when I cover the like space block strings. But yeah, do keep in mind that you can roll this, but if you block it, she can't be punished unless you're like point blank, and then like you'll be in grab range. But I doubt you'll ever see that happen. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Right, it can be rolled, but yeah, you'll usually see it to catch roll in certain situations. But yeah, like I said, I'll go over that in the later portion of this video. The 236H has the speed, or is a little bit slower than her L version, but it has the speed of her L version basically, and is +2. So yeah, it's not your turn after this. I know a lot of people just like press after blocking this move. It's not your turn, especially when she has a move that reaches full screen. So yeah, move is always +2 regardless. So this move you might see like people just end a block string to kind of like keep their turn. Not very often, but you might see it like occasionally. Like all the other ones, this move can also just be rolled. So yeah, of course that was a little preemptive, but yeah, you roll it, you're still pretty plus, like extremely plus. So yeah, do keep that in mind. All of her 236, all of her moves in her 236 series can be rolled, but on block in particular, this move is it's not your turn. So keep that in mind. Moving into her ultimate version, this one is +9 and it drags you in. It is full screen as well. It doesn't drag you directly like next to her all the time, but it drags you pretty close. It's +9, so yeah, this is not your turn. But also, like I mentioned, this can also just be rolled. But yeah, this one can be rolled on reaction because blue screen, it always has the exact same like release time. So you see blue flash, you roll, you punish. There's a little like trickery with blue skills or ultimate skills that I'll cover again in the situational section. But yeah, for this move in particular, you can always roll it, and if you're close enough, get a pretty decent punish. So yeah. Next is the 2-1-4 series, which is this, where she spins her whip around her. Yeah, this is really just like block string ender for the most part when she's close right here, or like usually in like an auto combo or something like that, or she space or something like that, because it's space, so a lot of characters have a hard time punishing it, even though it is technically punishable. But yeah, start off with her her L version. Her L version, which is a pretty decent distance, but it is -7 on block, which you'd be like, oh wow, it's punishable. Usually, you're not really punishing this move, except for like certain characters. Like Ren is a little bit too far to punish that with certain moves. This move actually can be spot dodge, funny enough. Actually all of her moves except for the U version can be spot dodge, but of course frame data does vary. You can spot dodge the first and second hit of auto combo. Obviously I didn't set it to spot dodge, but you can do the spot dodge, like I said, the first and second hit auto combo. As long as the first hit isn't close H, then this is a true block string. But if it's a close L or a close M, then you can roll it, or not roll it, you can spot dodge it. If you roll it, you will get caught. The third hit will always be a true block string. You can't punish any of these on spot dodging, but you can spot dodge it. Like that, you're even. So yeah, you can spot dodge it. It's just I don't know when you would want to spot dodge this version in particular. Other versions you can punish them, so there is a reason to spot dodge. I'll go over that in a second. But yeah, this one in particular isn't really like too crazy. You don't have to spot dodge it. Next is the M version, which is longer startup, but she is safe on block. She is -3 always if these all connect. But the thing with this one is that this one can always be spot dodge. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, true block strings on like close H or the third hit of auto combo for the L version, but this at all times can be spot dodge. So for example, let me just demonstrate on the last hit right there. You can't spot dodge it, and you are +12, which is really good for you because then she dies. So yeah, some people might do this like a bit, just to like because they don't want to spend their EX. But yeah, if they like doing this, or not this one, if they like doing this, then you can spot dodge and just kill them for it. You can spot dodge on the other like auto combo, like other instances of auto combo as well, like right here, and then also auto combo too. But the thing with this is you can't immediately spot dodge it like you can on the third hit. So for example, if I were to do 1, 2 into this, I immediately spot dodge, I get caught by the last hit, and she gets a full combo out of it, which is not cool. So this is something to keep in mind. You do have to kind of delay your spot dodge, but you still should be in a position to punish. But like it's not easy to do, and you're probably not looking out for it too often. But yeah, you can indeed spot dodge this, but it's kind of weird to do. But yeah, keep that in mind. It's good to know. Her L version, or not her L version, her H version, the reason why I said her L version after I already covered the L version is that it's basically her L version, but it keeps the properties of the M version on block. The difference in between this though, as I mentioned before, if I were to do the L version and like spot dodge right here, I can't punish it. She's even. But if I were to do the H version, and I spot dodge it, I'm +9. So if you guess right on this one, you can punish it, but like I said, it retains the same like spot dodging like timings as her as the L version. So it is a true block string on a close H, and it is a true block string on the third hit of auto combo, but everything else it can be spot dodge. So yeah, if you spot dodge this correctly, then you can kill them for it, just in case they don't want to, you know, make it a true block string. So yeah, keep that in mind. Another place they might actually like to do it is after a 4-5L. So they try to like stagger 2L, 2L, 4-5L. You might see this, and you can also spot dodge this, of course, depending on what your character has. You can punish that as well. Grand does have that being 11 frames from that close, but you can also 4-5 it from this range. So yeah, good to know, good to know. Very, very good to know, just in case they like doing that, because a lot of fairies do like to do this, because it's like for an ender in terms of a block string, this is probably her safest bet, and if it does catch them pressing anything, then it leads into a full combo as well. So yeah, good to know that, just in case you guess right, and then, you know, you punish accordingly. Of course, punish depending on what your character has. Figure that out for yourself, because I can't go over every character's punish for every single situation. But yeah, it is something that is worth noting. Also, another thing I just want to go over, like actually like punishing this move, mainly when they whiff it, because the wrong character, because sometimes they might just do this, not like they might just do this randomly, but sometimes they might just whiff it, and you're like, oh, what do I do? Because, not gonna lie, it's really hard to challenge and really hard to punish. So if I were to just like do this, I tried to press a normal into it, it got beat. I tried to press normal and it got whipped on it. It's really weird in this sense that it's like really hard to like punish like directly. One thing you can do, if you have a projectile, then projectiles beat this outright. So if they just do this and you can't react with like a projectile or something like that, then go for it. I know, you know, everybody doesn't have the same ult skills, but if you do have an ult skill, they kind of just keep that. Well, Grants does in particular, obviously see what works for your character, like I've been saying. Anyways, moving into her 2-1-4U. 2-1-4U is pretty good, all things considered. It is -3, like her H and her M version, but this thing has a massive vacuum that pulls from like half spring, and there's a whole lot of chip as well. So yeah, this is always a true block string. If you do block this, you can BC it, and it does guarantee you a hard knockdown. So that is one thing that is good to know. Honestly, you can't do too much about this move. Again, I'll go over like the ultimate like skill line games towards the end in like situational portion, but yeah, this move you're not really, you can't really do too much about it. So I spot dodge that, and it was even. I did a preemptor before, and then I did it on blue flash, and I'm even. So you can't really do anything about this move. This move is just like if you block it, BC. Even sometimes if you're too far, like if you're late or too far, you might miss the BC, and then yeah, you just wasted bravery point. So yeah, the move is pretty good. But yeah, just know that you can BC it, and it does get you a hard knockdown, because that is being like having a guaranteed like good position against Ferry is very important to have. So yeah, next we have the 2-2. The thing that enabled all her Setplay, Gigi. This move is honestly pretty straightforward. Her L version throws it like half screen, her M version throws it full screen, and her H version tracks for a little bit and then sets off once it gets to your position, like maybe like a quarter of a second later or half a second later, something like that. And then the U version activates as soon as it gets to you, once it tracks, or it tracks and then it activates as soon as it gets to you. So I guess the one thing to note, of course, I'm gonna go over Blockstrings a little bit more later, but kind of like tease into this or into that now, is that, you know, they might just be throwing this move out in neutral and whatnot. If you are prepared for them just doing this, then you can react. Then you can, if you have some move that covers full screen, you can just interrupt it. No matter what it is, if it's a fireball, regular fireball, it's a full screen like lunge, something like that. This move is 45 frames. She has 45 frames until she can do anything. So yeah, it's a pretty decent amount of time. Obviously, like with mental stack, it's a lot harder than it seems, but if you can recognize them trying to reset pressure with this move, then yeah, throw out one of those. Whether it is the H version, she recovers like 5 frames faster in the H version. Isn't too crazy if you are reacting to stuff like that. But yeah, if you can, then something like that. Even if you're late, she's forced to block. These do go away. So yeah, she blocked it and then it immediately goes away. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Get good at reacting, basically. It's a lot of like figuring out like habits and stuff like that to give you like an idea on when they might throw it out, but being able to react to this and punish accordingly is very, very important when dealing with this character. So yeah, keep that in mind. One thing I forgot to mention about the 2-2 series is that well, especially with the H version, is the tracking function on it. There's a way to kind of get around it, since this doesn't activate immediately. As you can see, it takes a little bit to start up. So for example, you know, like it tracks me, so like, well, what do I do about this? So you take advantage of the fact that it doesn't start up immediately, and you kind of just like stay in place, and then once you get it to stop, you move away from it, essentially. So for example, maybe we could do this, same place, I back up, and yeah, now I don't really have to deal with it, and the cooldown is gone. So that's something I'd say is pretty important to take advantage of when fighting this character, because, you know, especially like dealing with that is kind of, it's rough, because if you block this, then she now has control. She's, you know, she's plus basically 120, which is like 2 seconds, so she can do whatever the hell she wants in this situation. So it is really important to, like, if your opponent is using this a lot, to make use of it. You can even move forward if you want to, yeah, just utilize that. The U version I'll cover a little bit more again in the situational part, mainly when I go over the ultimate skill, like mind games, because this is the source of that, because it's kind of like Avatar Belial, if you know what I'm talking about, but like I said, I'll cover that a little bit more later. Something new that I haven't covered, or I guess I did cover a little bit in the Gameplan video, but we'll be covering her supers this time, for SBA in particular, because it is basically just like, this is basically, it's like her set play, but it's moving at a really, really weird like trajectory, and it's always active. Say for example, if she just throws this out randomly in the middle of like in the middle of the screen, just because why not, then you can punish her for it, because she is not invul, and you can punish her like that. Like, of course, not everybody has a projectile. You might be able to, like that. I was able to get around it. So of course, depending on your character, figure out what works. If you're too late, you might run into the wall itself, because ult skills and supers are not equal. Supers will beat out ult skills for the most part. There is like very, very few exceptions. I know one, for an example, is Zoe 2 through 6U. which completely deletes the fireball or the sewer. If you have one of those, then do that every time you see that, because that's like a guaranteed trade right there, and you'll definitely take 50 for 100 meter. What if you can't do that? Is a really big question. There are some times where you might be stuck right here, and then she pops this, and now you have to deal with this, which is not very cool. Honestly, if they do this move in any other situation, it's really hard to deal with, I can't lie. So like you might be able to, like, obviously the fairy's gonna be kind of like patrolling the area like around this. So it'll be kind of hard to get around, but depending on where, you kind of just have to know the trajectory of it and kind of like play around it accordingly. If you are like full screen or something like that, you can kind of just like back up and try to get around it. You try to jump it in certain situations too. You know, it's really hard to do. But yeah, honestly, besides if they just randomly do it in neutral, there isn't a clear-cut answer to this. Kind of figure out how you're going to approach it, depending on like positioning and, you know, certain like other things. If you have like other ways to kind of move around the screen, like character specific, like your Cagliostro or your Matera or your bugs or something like that, you have the teleport, then, you know, try to maneuver around it the best you can. Obviously it's gonna be really hard to just kind of like do this in training mode. You're probably gonna have to go experience it for yourself and figure out what works and what doesn't. But yeah, now for the situational portion of this video, it's gonna be a lot of the other stuff, like it's gonna be covering a lot of the other stuff, just more in depth, like the 236 series and the 2-2 series with the setups and whatnot. But first we're going to start with the space block strings, which I mentioned a lot during the other section. But there's 4 things you're usually going to be seeing in space block strings, usually like from like this distance and whatnot. 1, no cancel. She'll just press a normal and she'll do nothing. So this is usually seen like just to kind of feel out what their opponent is likes to do on block, because a lot of people will just like, they'll block a normal and they'll instantly roll, and if they do that, they're in a pretty bad position. So for example, if I were to just move a little bit closer, because I'm pretty sure that's in reach, I roll like that, I get caught by this. So this is where no cancel is relatively strong. It will catch people that like to like immediately press a button afterwards. And like I said, it's literally just to kind of feel out your opponent, see what they're gonna do. So yeah, you'll see this a bit for most fairies, at least, just to kind of like I said, feel out their opponent. So yeah, if you're a big roller when it comes to just immediately blocking your normals and they like to no cancel, stop rolling because this is made to beat that in particular. So yeah, spot dodge is one other thing you might see sometimes, but usually you only see it off of FAR5H, because FAR5H off of a no cancel is -15, and that's pretty bad. Also, like, her hurt box is like all the way out there. Yeah, you'll usually see it off FAR5H because it takes off 2 frames. But yeah, you won't really see this anywhere else. Like, this is -9. If I spot dodge this, she's -15 instead. So why would you make yourself more minus if you don't have to be, you know? But yeah, this is kind of the same thing with like the rolling situation I was mentioning earlier. Like, if I were to do this and roll, -16 in her face, so that's really not good. So yeah, it's another thing to just kind of like catch that. So again, if they're no canceling or they're spot dodging off of this, then keep in mind that is in particular to beat like options like roll and stuff like that, or just a spot dodge. Now into what most people are rolling for, which is the 236 series. So 236, like I mentioned before, this move in particular, or like that series of moves in particular, can be rolled. So if you do roll it, you are good enough to punish, or you're plus enough to punish most of the time. Obviously, if you're space, it's kind of hard sometimes. Some characters might have a move to catch right there. You should be able to like 6XL if you're fast enough, or 5L if you're me, because I can't 6XL well. But yeah, this in particular is to catch people that are kind of taking advantage of no cancel, because no cancel, I didn't really mention it too much. I was just mentioning why they were no canceling, but this is actually, she's always minus off of a no cancel regardless. So people might like try to inch their way in off of, like slowly like work their way in off of a no cancel, because you just move forward, and like you move forward enough, you'll get there. So yeah, but this is made to kind of like beat that in particular. But again, it does lose the roll. So for example, if I were to like try to inch my way forward like I was doing on no cancels, it will catch me trying to walk forward. So yeah, this is basically designed to beat you walking forward trying to beat no cancels. But yeah, like I mentioned before, it does lose the roll, so yeah, keep that in mind. One thing I did cover earlier, well, her 214 236M, excuse me, in particular, does beat roll or spot dodge in certain situations. Like if you were to do like immediate roll or spot dodge for certain moves, this could catch. It is really timing dependent. You can roll, like show this off for example. If I were to do this and roll right there off of a R5H, then roll beats 236M. You're like, that's supposed to be roll. How is it doing that? It's because of timing, because this move in particular can be rolled, but it is usually used to catch the recovery of roll. So the timing can be changed, but yeah, it's weird. It's kind of weird. You can wait for this as well if you're expecting a 236M as well. Like for example, if I hold this and wait, you can kind of roll like after she charges up like that and get a pretty big punish. It's a lot better than you would get off of something like that. So it's like you're plus 30 right there. That's like a lot of time to do whatever the hell you want. So yeah, that's something you can also do. It's something to like keep in mind as well, because if you're doing this and you're like walking forward, or you're playing to beat like no cancel and stuff like that, this also works. It gives you enough time to block. If you can react to it enough time, you can just roll it and then also kill her for it. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. Like I said, don't get too roll happy. You might get caught by one of these 236Ms, because it's, you know, they can time it. They can time it to catch certain things, and it's easier to do off of certain moves because of different like block stun and stuff like that. It is one of her best like combo starters as well. So yeah, you'll probably see this move a decent amount in like Blockstrings, especially if they see that you're pretty roll hungry just off of this, off of blocking normals. So yeah, do keep that in mind. Next is 22X. I did basically cover this before in the special section, but it is good to keep in mind that, you know, sometimes if you're too scared of all the other options, you know, if no cancel, or you're like, oh man, they've been getting me every time I've been trying to spot dodge, or you know, every time I think they're gonna no cancel, they do this and they catch me walking forward, they might start just throwing out this move instead, like bar normal into Gigi set. So this loses to the same way that I mentioned before when covering this move, is you just do something, you know. whether you have a fireball or maybe like a forward advancing move, you can react to this, then do that. Even if you make them block, it's like works in your favor because there goes their set play. But yeah, just deal with this how you would like just a normal 2-1-4, or not 2-1-4, 2-2 Gigi set. If you have a fireball, that's probably your safest bet. If you can react and you have a forward advancing like a lariat, then that works too. But yeah, like I said, figure out what works best for your character. So a lot of the times you'll see this block string in particular where she does far H 2-6 H into far H again. One thing that can be done about this, especially since the move has pretty slow startup, it's 12 frames, you can actually hit her out of this depending on what move you have. Of course, not all characters normals are created equal, so even though she's plus right there, like I said before, this move is pretty slow. So you can like try to challenge if you think they're gonna do another normal, especially depending on the spacing. If you're too far for them to like reach with any other like low normal that would catch like a roll or something like that, then this is usually this is usually something you might see. Another thing you can do if they're doing 4H in particular is you can just roll this. Like I mentioned before, if you roll 4-5H, you're in a pretty good position. So a lot of Ferry players will do this a lot, so it is good to keep in mind that you can do this and just kind of like kill her for it. Next is a pretty big part of Ferry's game plan, which is what happens when she has you in Gigi setup. She just does this, sets up, and then she can do whatever the hell she wants. She has her rising instant overhead, she has lows. I'm going to cover every single possible option that she has and basically what you can do to beat them. So starting with layer 1 is the instant overhead with her JL. This is usually the go-to for Ferry players, at least for layer 1 obviously. But getting around it is just guessing. At this point, you're not reacting to anything, you are guessing. So let's go over which guesses will work. So start off, of course, the first guess is blocking right. Is to block high. She is still insanely plus off of this, but yeah, if you block right, then you don't get hit. Next, this is jump. You're in a better position in terms of plus frames, or in terms of frame data, excuse me. You saw if you blocked it, you were minus 28, but if you jumped with her, then you're only minus 4 because you're not blocking Gigi. So yeah, this is if you're guessing this for like, if you're guessing like a jump on this, then it's kind of like, it is an option. I wouldn't say it's the strongest option, but it is certainly an option. Next, which is I believe the strongest option against this in particular, is wake up roll. Because if you miss it, or she misses the overhead, she is extremely minus, and off of that, you can do whatever the hell you want. And it is a really, really big punish. So yeah, roll is a strong option right here, but of course it is always a guess. And then finally, there is TP. You just don't want to deal with it. And you know, some characters, based on the trajectory that Ferry goes at, just miss. You see Gran right there, that just did not work, at least for the EX DP. The old DP was able to catch. MDP misses. So yeah, yeah, figure out what works depending on your character. Some characters DP just might whiff because of the angle that she goes at. But yeah, DP is an option. If it works, then it is a pretty solid option that covers most of what she tries to do. Next option is the low. This is the option that beats the block high on the overhead. So basically every option that you would have done to beat the overhead loses to this option. So for example, if I were to do this right here and I were to try to immediately jump, I get caught on startup, and yeah, that happens. If I were to try to block high, she hits me low. And if I try to roll, that's a low, so it catches roll. So yeah, none of those work. So yeah, what now then? The most simple option, or the most straightforward option, is guess right and block low. Obviously it's a 50-50, so you might be right, you might be wrong, but that is certainly an option. Another option, just like before, is to just DP. And you know, hope they don't block. So yeah. Another thing she can do is actually go low then high, because Gigi is out long enough for her to do both and come down and get a full combo. So what beats this? The only two options are the two options that you had last time. Actually, yeah, it is the only two options you had last time. Because if I were to try to roll, I was thinking about it, but you can't do this. If you try to roll the second hit, you'll get caught by Gigi because it activates before you can get a roll. So yeah, the only two options are the same options as the last one. Is DP, or to just block this correctly. So yeah, it's pretty messed up, but she has it. So yeah, that's really all you have. Actually, you block around the first one, you get an instant BC. That works too. It's also something that works on the double low. So yeah, do keep that in mind. That BC is also an option if you guess right once. You just you know, don't want to deal with anything else. So yeah. And honestly, probably the scariest option she has from this, mainly because this is her highest damage starter, is grab. She can just grab you again. And yeah, because you might be so like caught up on trying to, you know, wait for time to BC, or you're too focused on like guessing. You're too focused on guessing the block. Grab becomes a real threat right here. So yeah, ways to beat grab is, of course, technical. That is one of the best options to beat grab. You do have throw protection, so if they are trying to grab, you can't just make them block. You can't just mash and wake up. And that works too. And also it loses to like DP. So what other ways does Ferry have to beat DP except for blocking? A DP of her own. So this move covers pretty much every single option that you can do. And when I try to mash, you get DP. I try to grab, DP'd. I try to jump to beat overhead, get DP'd. And what if you just block this and you're right? It's still her turn because Gigi is still right there. So, what option do you have against this? Is it completely hopeless? No. No, it is not. Because if you just roll, you win. So yeah, roll beats overhead and also the DP option. It's very good to know because this DP, it's pretty scary. Obviously, she can't do it unless she has 50 meter. So yeah, it's not like you're ever going to be short on meter in this game. But yeah, it is an option. Roll beats it. So yeah, keep that in mind if they like showing this, or you know, you just think they're going to DP to cover those options. So yeah, forgot to mention it. But if you don't want to roll, just DP. Forgot to mention it, but I guess I was wrong in terms of her DP beating out DP. I guess it depends on the DP, of course, because some DPs interact in certain ways. So yeah, I guess figure that out for yourself. But DP is also an option here if you don't want to guess. So yeah, if they're not blocking, BP is a good answer. Very, very good answer. Now, let's say if you're mid-screen and they have Gigi set, then you should always hold block button. You can always change your block button position. Like you can either go high or low just by holding down or letting go. So yeah, this will automatically save you from the cross up. And if you're, you know, trying to guess on a high or low, then you can just change positioning. Like if you think they're gonna block high and you're holding block button, but they cross over, you don't have to worry about anything because you're still using the block button. And now you can just block low because they have no other options. Last thing I'm gonna cover is the old skill mind games. So the reason why I'm covering this is that I did mention some sort of like correlation to Avatar Bilal, and where she has an old skill that can catch spot dodge. So usually people see blue flash and they're like, okay, I'm gonna spot dodge this because spot dodge beats most old skills. But if you were to do this and spot dodge, this catches that. So honestly, there's not like too much to it. I just say get used to knowing the animations or even the sound or the voice cues that go along with certain moves. But one thing I would say to work on is to not, if you see a blue screen flash against Ferry, your first option should not be to spot dodge, because this is a very, very real option and is very scary, and under pressure I know it can be really hard to not, but it will save you in a good chunk of situations just due to the fact that, you know, this is a really, really good option. It's 3+ frames. If, like I said, or like you saw, you spot dodge it, you die. So what is the answer to this move in particular? If you were to kind of react right, you could jump over it and kind of just land on top of her. If you're early enough, you can get a punish. Worst case scenario, if you're like far, you can just like jump back. And if you're like reacting to it and you're already holding back, then jumping back is fine. It's a lot better than being in that position or being caught by that in the first place. Even just blocking it is not like terrible, because she doesn't have her cooldown immediately. Obviously you can't really tell because of the immediate skill refresh in training mode, but yeah, she'll not be able to use this cooldown temporarily, so that's one less thing you have to worry about. So yeah, don't spot dodge immediately when you see blue skill against this character, because this is a very scary option that she can show that will catch spot dodge. It also catches roll if that wasn't also a given. But yeah, so TLDR, don't immediately spot dodge. If you do want to, like, you know, try to react to like which old skill it is, then by all means that is also a really good option, because they do kind of come out at different times, or have pretty lenient windows in terms of like spot dodging. Like if I were to do this, it doesn't come out immediately, so you can wait a little bit and then you can roll and you're still in a really good position, so you're still +10. So yeah, last but not least, I wanted to have a general section for Ferry, because you know, just knowing moves and stuff like that is cool and all, but like how you like just approach this, because it's really hard to get around all of this. Of course, what I said before about every single move, you know, it's good to keep in mind to know like what to do against certain like moves if if players like to like show certain moves, of course. But what do you do in general? So you know, if you're playing like a normal character or like a Shoto or something like that, I'd say a good thing to just do, or okay, this doesn't even have to be just Shotos in general, but just like any character, I'd say a really good option against Ferry, which may sound crazy in like Grand Blue, but is to jump at her a lot. So why this? Why jump at her? So if you don't know, she actually cannot block. Most of her four normals, unlike most of other characters' four normals, can be blocked in the air. So she has no real option, or she doesn't really have a far range option to deal with people jumping. So with that being said, not saying that jumping is free against this character, but jumping is a threat for this character because it's a lot harder for her to anti-air. And also, her 2H also is air blockable, so as long as you just jump and you don't press a button, she can't really do anything about it. Obviously, you see she's still plus, but it's not as big of a deal as if you're getting, like, you know, eating a full combo for jumping in. So yeah, her options to catch jump are pretty risky, I'd say. Like, she can catch jump with a close normal, but if you're in close normal range for Ferry and you're jumping, I wouldn't really advise that. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Another option she has is EX or Ultimate DP. Don't know, if you don't know, the L and the M versions are actually air blockable. So if she wants to hit you out with the air, then she's gonna have to spend a resource. And if she does spend a resource, then you can just keep jumping. So, because it becomes infinitely harder for her to anti-air you without, you know, doing something. So, yeah, I'd say in general, against this character, until the Ferry player shows something, or shows that they can deal with you jumping at them, then I'd say jumping is a really, really good idea against this character. Like I said, until they discourage you into doing so by showing they know how to deal with it. Yeah, just as a layer 1, you don't always have to jump at them because, yeah, it's, you know, being in the air and Grand Blue is not great, but just to show occasionally and to, you know, keep them on their toes or whatnot, just kind of super jumping at them, good idea, I'd say. Another way she can actually anti-air is with her dash normals. So in particular being 6SH, because she can get a full combo off of this. But if she misses it, then she's pretty minus, and well, you saw it was jumping again, so you can't really tell. But yeah, she on whiff she is, you know, 48 frames negative. So yeah, you can punish that if she does miss. It is a high risk, high reward option for her that you probably won't see very often, unless, you know, they get a really good, like, read on your jump. But yeah, they won't be able to get it every time. So yeah, keep jumping. Last thing, just a general piece of advice I'd say when playing against this character, you keep it slow. It's like, obviously playing slow definitely works to her advantage, but if you're just kind of like throwing yourselves at them and, you know, playing extremely reckless, then it works to their favor more than it does you. So yeah, I'd say it is important to figure out your opponent's habits just as much as they want to figure out your habits. So, like, you know, just like slowly like approaching and dealing with like their like space block string option, which is the reason why I covered that in the first place. Being able to tell what they like to do makes it easier to figure out what you want to do in response to, you know, their options. So yeah, maybe it's like a pattern, or they just literally do the exact same thing every single time. Then you can pick what is best to approach that particular option. So yeah, play it slow, figure out what they want to do, and then punish accordingly, because that is, yeah, you're going to have to be able to play patient against zoners, or else they just run you over. So yeah. So that's about it for the Ferry counterplay guide. Obviously, as you could tell, it was a lot longer than previous entries. So yeah, I apologize for that, but there's a lot to cover with this character. There's a lot of like specific stuff that is really good to know. And I know this character is a lot of people's nightmare. It's just, you know, due to zoners. People just don't like playing against zoners. People don't like playing patient, but it's something you're gonna have to learn to do against a character like Ferry, because he definitely takes advantage of, you know, people's impatience, and can just run you over if you're not ready for some of this stuff. So yeah, with all that aside, I hope this video was helpful. I'm looking to cover more zoners because, or just more gimmicky characters in the future, because that is a really, really like hard archetype for people to play against for the most part. Also, Oneness just came out, so yeah, I'm gonna try to cover him pretty soon as well, but I'm gonna give it at least one more entry until I cover him, just to see how he develops and figure out what to do against the character, because you can't figure out everything on day one. So yeah, with all that being said, like I mentioned before, I hope this helped. You enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you are want to keep updated with this series and whatnot. And if there's any questions you have, of course, leave a comment down below. I will try to the best of my ability to clarify some stuff, or answer some questions. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.